Limits of the Flesh, Chapter 2, Fantasy Fiction by Azazyel. Seeing little other choice, I decided to play along with the ROB version's plan of me. Plus, let's be honest, I didn't want to wander the world in the mundane world when a whole supernatural world was ripe for me to spread my wings and explore. A few minutes later I followed the map I found by the train station to Kuoh Academy, and with how it was in the middle of the day it wasn't a surprise that the school was just winding down its lessons. Going back to school is going to suck. I muttered before brightening up as I realized that despite Rias and Sona taking over the school so they could attend it, the leaders of the peerage didn't really do attendance themselves for most part, as Sona was too busy cosplaying as the principal and being the student council president, and Rias was probably watching anime or something in the whole school building she had for herself and her peerage. But instead of an open school front like most American schools would, this one had a large gate in front of it. Is there an intercom or something? I muttered as I looked around the gate to hopefully talk to one of the staff members about my enrollment. That will not be necessary. You are Jake Barris, the exchange student from America, correct? A female voice spoke, and from the other side of the gate, a young woman came out beside the right side of the wall. The girl was wearing Kuoh Academy's uniform consisting of a very short purple and white trim skirt, black midriff cover thing, and a white dress shirt. She had white hair, and her light green eyes were almost gray, which matched her hair, and finally, of course, as was the standard here in DxD, she had a fantastic set of breasts that pushed out her uniform's top. That's correct. Are you the one who is to lead me to the faculty office? I asked, not really recalling her name, as Sona's peerage never really came up in the anime, which is all the real context for the world other than other fanfics I had read in my previous life. I just hope other me was cool enough to deal with that EXE nonsense that I heard about. That is incorrect, the pale beauty said, cutting my thoughts for the future off while she continued. The student council president will be handling your transfer to this school, as the principal is currently busy with other matters, due to you coming so late in the day. Yet more proof of Sona's little power trip while playing as the principal of the school, but not wanting to cause waves, I merely nodded and held up the soft suitcase I had for any schoolwork I needed to skive off of. I got my paperwork with me, do you need to see it? I offered, and she shook her head. No, your student ID picture has already been given to me. And a foreigner wanting to join our great school is easy enough to remember, she said, shrugging, reminding me of how a lot of Japanese people will probably be kind of snooty for me being a big, tall American blonde dude. But here in this almost entirely female school that was converted from an all-girls school, I doubted they would attempt any bullying, as my unicorn enhancements had cleared up my body of all its imperfections, and it was likely I would be put into that whole prince category alongside Kiba of Rias's peerage. Honestly, I was surprised that this devil in front of me hadn't mentioned the fairly clear supernatural aura I was broadcasting from said unicorn heritage. So, my name is Momo Hanakai, and I work in the student council alongside my president. So, Jake, please me about where you come from in America. I never got to hear any of the more interesting details about this mysterious transfer student. Momo asked me, as she generally guided me around the school, telling me how the floors were ordered and how to get to certain classrooms. Oh, you know, I am just an average guy from New Mexico, and when I got a scholarship to study abroad, I wanted to get out of my small town and see more of the world. I spoke somewhat evasively, as it was a little weird to just give my life story to someone new. What made you choose Kuoh Academy? There are a number of other schools in the area, and with your build I imagine you probably would be interested in sports, right? She asked as she clearly checked out my cut form. The reviews for the school made it out to be the best in the area, and as for sports, honestly, I don't really find joy in playing with balls or hitting a ball with something. Plus, playing sports in this world was worthless with the various supernatural entities in every corner. Heh, so you don't like playing with balls, huh? Momo teased as she lightly bumped against me, making me chuckle along with her as we walked to the student council building. I wasn't going to bother hiding my supernatural presence, as I wanted Rias to get off her ass and approach me for some form of recruitment so I can get some of that sweet devil magic and ageless immortality. Alright, well, this is the Prez's office, just be respectful, and if she asks you to play a game of chess with you, just lose as gracefully as you can. Momo said cheerfully as she pivoted away from me with her short skirt flapping with the motion, showing off her green panties, making me blink in surprise. Gotta remember, this world is lewd to its core. I muttered as I knocked on the student council's door. Come in. I heard a strict voice speak out. Opening the door, I was met with the sight of two women in the room. One standing beside a large desk with very long black hair, square glasses with amber eyes behind them, a severe face, and lastly, she filled out her Kuoh uniform very well with her curvy body. And the star of the show, the very Sona Citri, a pure blood devil, was sitting behind the desk looking at me from across the room with her glasses glinting with some weird spell or something to look intimidating. Sona, although rather flat in all her body proportions, she was still a beautiful woman with purple eyes and black hair. Your report didn't mention you being a member of the supernatural. Do you know whose territory you have entered without giving prior notice? Sona said crossly, obviously trying to put me on the back foot. I merely brushed my hand through my hair as I shrugged. Didn't think it was necessary as I came here to go to school. But this is Japan, this is the territory of the Shinto pantheon and more locally the Yukai, right? I stated more than asked, and the devils' faces in front of me twitched as they were leasing the land. Basically, as saying the devils owned the territory was like saying the devils could own territory in Italy next to the Vatican or even in Greece next to the Greeks. Be that as it may, I and my fellow king have jurisdiction over the town of Kuoh and more especially this school. Sona's glinting glasses flashed once again, obscuring her eyes as she spoke again with her hands folded over her mouth to disguise her facial expressions. What is your goal coming here to Kuoh then other than education? With my flesh crafting powers, to put simply, I could be the best doctor in the world, so I answered as such. I want to get a good education here so I can officially become a doctor later on, as my magic and abilities lie in healing. I said, shrugging, making their eyebrows perk up in interest. The thing was, in DxD, healing items and powers were far and few between, which was why the Phoenix family's Phoenix tears they sold everywhere were so valuable both economically and politically, as having a heart ripped out and being healed in moments due to drinking a salty tear automatically makes you and your clan extremely valuable. I was taking the panacea route by saying my abilities were healing, but just as they say, don't piss off the white mage, as I can go from healing you from a nasty bruise to give you rectal cancer before you even know it. I even now wasn't helpless, though I doubted I could take on Sona or Rias's peerages without any real training in my abilities other than the downloaded memories I got from the original unicorn. A healer, you say? You have proof of your abilities? She asked with an upraised eyebrow, and I paused in thought. I just want to say that I don't promote self-harm. I said as Tsubaki's hand was drifting to one of the letter openers on the table, and she gave me a dirty look. Yes, Tsubaki, he is an unknown. But I will take your words in mind. She then coughed as her glinting glasses enchantment faded away, and then leaned back into her chair as she looked at me before snorting. I can feel your magic is barely that of a high-class devil, so I won't give you any troubles, don't worry. Just abide by common decency and you won't face any problems with me and Rias Gremory, the other king I share ownership of this territory with. I nodded in understand and then handed over my paperwork at the unspoken acceptance of my place at the school. Is there anything special I should be aware of in terms of the school's culture? I asked, wondering there was some kind of unspoken school rules I was unaware of. The two girls both shared a look before they said in unison. Don't be a pervert. Seeing my blank face, saying, of course that's common sense, Sona rubbed the bridge of her nose as she went on to explain with how they just recently changed from an all-girls school. A number of the boys that leapt to join the school have become degenerates, and none worse than the famous perverted trio that regularly breaks into school property to bore holes in the walls of locker rooms and other stuff in order to peep and harass the girls of the school.